Hello, hello. Welcome everybody to the Pyramid Science Foundation's live stream. I'm Lisa Richards with Pyramid Surge, and this is Charlie Ziese with Stargate Pyramids. How'd you like the new additions to the intro, Charlie? I added some pyramids and some Tesla towers.
And it looks like new photos of us too. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, very good eye.
yeah.
We have a wonderful show today, guys, so welcome everybody. We just have a couple announcements first before we introduce our amazing guest. So first off, the Pyramid of Peace. So look at this gorgeous pyramid. It is the largest bamboo pyramid in the world. It's 74 feet tall, and it's in Ecuador. It's in the 76.345 degree geometry, as the pyramids that Charlie and I make, the meditation pyramids. And they're actually having an equinox celebration on Friday. This Friday, September 22nd, there's going to be over 30 tribes expected to gather here. Can you imagine? This is one of the last events they had. In the center of that big pyramid, they have another small pyramid, and this is inside of that pyramid with all the different tribes. It's going to be actually live, and it's free to watch. The link is actually in the description below, and it's at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll actually send out a reminder. So if you guys join our newsletter, we'll send out a reminder for that event probably on Friday. But it's going to be a great event, and it's free of charge, but there is a donation link. So consider donating to their cause. They actually take all the donations and they use it, what they call the Global Minga Humanitarian Projects. So it's what's going to be good for all of humanity. Charlie, did you have any announcements for today?
The only major announcement, other than the ones we'll be talking about with Nick and Alpa, I have ordered all of the hardware that I need to start making the stabilizers for the tops of the pyramids. Those should be in by the end of the month. So starting around the 1st of October, I'll make an announcement about it. But we're going to have those. They work perfectly. They really do help to keep the poles now exactly the way they should be. And what I've decided we're going to do is I'm going to make that a separate. It's going to be included in all of the pyramids going forward after I get the parts, which again should be into next week. But we will be selling those. They're going to be very inexpensive, $15 or under for sure, and just have to finalize the prices. So all of you who have a pyramid that is connected at the top with the zip ties, you may want to order one of those, and it'll really improve the structure and stability of your pyramid going forward. And I do have all of Lisa's, I've tried several of Lisa's new capsules, and they fit really well on top of there as well. So it's a win-win all around. So that's really it for now.
So just a last announcement for me. I just announced a sale today just on pyramidsurge.com. It's for the EMF protection jewelry and the pendulums. So they're all 33% off. So you can go and check that out if you want to. And
I guess I have one more too then.
Yeah.
I've sold quite a number of my clearance pyramids, but I still have about 6 to 8 of those available for sale. So those are all 50 to 60% off. Go to stargatepyramids.com. On the homepage, you'll see the clearance sale.
Awesome. So now it's time for our amazing guests. Let's bring them on. Yay, we're so excited to see you guys. So please welcome everybody, the amazing Nick Alvear. Nick is a filmmaker and creator of Good Lion TV, and the beautiful Alpa Soni, who was an inspiration and a producer for their latest viral film, The Greatest Show on Earth, based on the work of Derek Johnson. And they're both very good friends of ours as well, and we're just so honored to have them here today. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to see you both again.
Yeah.
You too, both of you.
Heck yeah.
So let's start out, Nick, with your last episode of the Tartarian Empire. Can you kind of give it a breakdown for the people that are watching, what it's all about? And then Charlie can go in and talk about how it relates to pyramid energy.
Absolutely. So, the first Tartaria film I made is pretty much warming everyone up to start going into everything regarding energy and technology. So at first, I realized a lot of people knew a lot of the basics when it comes to Tartaria. So with this first film, my intention was to show the historical aspect. That's why it's called History Unraveled. How did we lose Tartaria? Basically, is how the film begins. So in it, we're looking at when most people think Tartaria was just Eastern Russia because there's a lot of old maps that show it there, but it was actually all over the world. And there was a pivotal moment when the Romanovs took over of what was left of Moscow Tartary. And from that moment, when they became a superpower, the Romanovs, they went to what is known as the United States now, but back then it was called India Superior for many years. They ended up there, and what you'll see in the movie is a deep dive into the tribes, the Native American tribes we've known existed here, are actually remnants of this Tartarian civilization. And then you'll also go into how fabricated the slave trade was, and how it may very well be that the powers that be created this false history to erase the American genocide of these Tartarians that were in America, and basically replace them with blacks from Africa, and said that we were getting these slaves from Africa. You'll see those stats in the movie and how it all stands up, and you'll start to get clues that Egypt was in America, and these are all remnants of a civilization that's been around much longer and more far spread around the world than we've known. And then there's also an intro in the film that we go into Anatoly Fomenko, and he's just like this brilliant Russian professor. His credentials are just incredible. He goes into this theory he has. He's written a 7-volume book, history. I think it's called Truth or a Lie. In it, you get to see his theory and his colleagues' theory that pretty much say that everything before 1200 AD was made up, and everything after that was genuine. And
Yeah.
so,
That's so
yeah,
crazy,
and
isn't it? I mean, our whole world, everybody's world is flipped upside down right now, but you don't know what to believe anymore. And
yeah.
the only thing that we can do is keep digging and finding things and comparing notes. That's the only way we're going to get to the truth. But I mean, just like what's going on right now in the world, I mean, obviously there was a genocide of the Native Americans, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
why would people not think there would ever be another one? Why would they think they wouldn't do it to other people? So.
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely. And then just hiding the fact that the Native Americans were even more special. Um, the cabal uses fake news today, and why wouldn't they use it then? So that they use history books to do what they do now with fake news, and they hide the truths under all of these. So there's so much truth out there that's hidden, and a lot of it can be just conspiratorial. But the more you see the same thing everywhere else, you start to understand that there might be some serious weight to it.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. Go just real quick, Charlie. Could you touch on the teepees the
Well,
teepees of the
yeah,
Native Americans?
there's really two examples. If you go look at the Native American teepees as photographed in the late 19th century, they actually have the geometry of the Giza pyramid, but as we know, that's very closely aligned with the Russian pyramid geometry as well. But their arrows and the fletching, which is the little feathers at the back of the thing to keep it stable and so forth, all of those use this 76-345 geometry. So
Mm.
they knew about this. Now, did they know about it just through trial and error, or did someone teach them this? Is this ancient knowledge? I think it's the latter. I think they knew this, and there was some great reset that where we lost all this knowledge. And of course, it's in the Gothic cathedrals, it's in the Hindu temples, it's everywhere in these ancient architectural structures. So clearly, there was a worldwide, from an architectural standpoint, civilization that used their knowledge of sacred geometry to produce free energy and health. So
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that. Yeah, in the movie, we go into the Moors who are the civilization that were around in the United States. There's a lot of Moors that were actually Native Americans. So it's a possibility that Native Americans came from that Moor civilization. And another interesting fact is the common language in the Tartarian civilization was Sanskrit and Islam, or Arabic.
yeah,
So you find a lot of those remnants in tribe names, and also in a lot of cities and towns in the United States
right.
still. Yeah, which are pretty
Everywhere.
awesome. It's like clues. It's like why didn't they erase the names of cities and towns? You know, they kind of left them there, maybe for the ones who did it. I'm not really too sure why they left them. Yeah.
And I so want to believe in all of that, and I'm not saying I don't, but I mean, you can see pictures of them building Stonehenge, like with big heavy equipment. So you don't know what kind of props are out there for us to lure us into traps.
Uh-huh.
Well,
True.
that's very true. So, we're going to be, I guess, delving into some of this in part two. That Nick and I, and I'll say this with all due respect, Nick has become a star, as you all know, in the last couple of weeks. So we haven't had any time to work on this, but we're going to be trying to integrate all of that information on the energy side, in episode two. And there's plenty more beyond the little world that I have developed, which is really this geometry, which seems to produce fields of ionization, which produces the potential to gather electricity and free energy from the atmosphere. But all of the
Right.
other technology, like the fractal antennas, the mercury, all of those things,
Yeah.
we're going to have to, we'll be dealing with those as well, and trying to bring all of this together into some kind of a meaningful whole. Uh,
Yeah. That'll be fun because there's so much in the realm of energy extraction from that civilization that's really fun. I actually brought an excerpt from the next film in paragraph form that talks about pyramids and the Great Pyramid of Giza, and I want to read it to you and see what you think.
Sure.
So it's talking about the pyramids. The pyramids, like the Great Pyramid of Giza, were built on energy ley lines and utilized specific materials to generate and magnify energy. The use of white polished limestone casing stones provided insulation and reflection of sunlight. The inner surfaces were lined with dolomite, known for increasing electrical conductivity. Granite, slightly radioactive and containing quartz crystal, served as a conductor of piezoelectricity. Water flowing through the limestone and granite combined with the stress and pressure within the pyramid, created electromagnetic energy. The Great Pyramid's location magnified electromagnetic forces, and the chemical reactions within the structure allowed energy to rise to the upper layers.
I don't have any issue with any of that. No.
Yeah. Have you heard of any of that before too?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a picture I want to show you guys talking about that. So we had a guest. Was it last week that we had Veda Austin on, Charlie?
Yes. Yes.
She is a water researcher, and she has been for 10 years, and she does amazing work. She actually communicates with water. Everybody can, but she's proven that water has consciousness. Like, she blows Emoto's work out of the water, literally.
Wow.
So she has glyphs that the water will represent in ice. What she does is she uses a photo and puts a petri dish of water on top of it, and then freezes that water, and it creates a glyph or a message in there, or a symbol like it goes back to the original communication of whatever that is. So she actually wrote free energy on a piece of paper, and I'll bring it up here. She wrote free energy on a piece of paper, froze it after it sat on the waters in the petri dish here, and look at what it created: a pyramid geometry with hexagons.
Wow.
Emitting from the peak of it.
Wow.
And she actually, if you go into our live stream with her, she actually breaks it down a little bit more, because she says, you know, when she has adults look at this picture without telling them what it is, they just look at the image. They will say like Illuminati, or, you know, they feel kind of uneasy or whatever. But she had some kids do it, and they said they felt tickly and giggly and happy. And mainly she was saying that how can we trust ourselves as adults with our intuitive abilities, you know, our feelings towards things, when we were trained to feel that way from birth. You know, it's really not going back to our genuine feelings like the children have. And the children don't have any impressions like that on it, where they knew what it originally felt like, you know? So that was pretty cool. But it's free
Wow.
energy. It's the pyramid and the hexagons, you know?
That's massive.
Yeah, it's
That's
very
beautiful.
obvious. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You can feel
Now,
the energy. Yeah.
I actually saw the horns of a Taurus. I saw it on the top as well. So it's almost, to me, it looked like a toroidal structure. So even more important. So very,
That
very
is
cool.
cool. Yeah,
Now,
this makes me think about how in today's world, it's very possible with this tanking of the dollar that we're seeing happen and what is attached to it, the cabal and everything that we've been under in this slave system, it might usher in the possibility for new technologies to come into the world again, because you don't have this superior force that's plugging anything from emerging out in the world. Like I don't remember his name. I think his first name is Stan. This guy who created the car that ran on water. These are technologies that were thriving in Tartarian civilizations.
right.
And then you got the government asking for a patent team collaboration, and this guy dies the next day after he approves it. You know,
Yep.
like that kind of thing might stop, and we might be given more help, and there might be pioneers in this field like Elon Musk. Who knows? That will help bring these out, like med beds and even the pyramids you guys have. Like this is next level, and it comes out now for a reason. You know, imagine if you tried bringing this out 30 years ago or 20 years ago, even
3 years
probably
ago.
wouldn't. Was it 3 years ago you started?
Yeah. Yeah. Even 3 years ago, you couldn't have
See?
imagined.
Yeah,
Oh, I know,
right.
right? You're right, actually. Yeah.
So
So
what made you, I know your views on Elon have changed. What made you change your mind on him?
once I started researching on this movie, The Greatest Show on Earth, and I started to see the tactics that white hats use with dark hats, black hats. Oftentimes, if they were ever doing things that were very terrible, they give them a chance to do something better again. Now, I can't really say Elon for a fact has done anything terrible, but in Purview with Elon 1, I examined how much the government invested in him. And just the fact that the government was investing in him is what the whole point was. And then the people around him, like Peter Thiel, obsessed with trying to stay young forever and getting these blood transplants. But with Elon, I used to think that he was not genuine in what he was doing with X or Twitter. But he keeps talking and keeps saying the things that I think. And so he's just vibing more like a white hat. And he's speaking more of the things we think. And I just don't think they would psyop on that kind of level with him. He's just, I feel like the powers that be have lost control, and that's what we're seeing now. Like in the film with Silicon Valley, when Ben Salman does his Silicon Valley tour, and then you see all the CEOs from Silicon Valley from that time have all stood down. They all resigned. That was the ripple effect after that. And so it goes to show this Elon buying X might have had a greater purpose than a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always intuitively felt that he was a good guy, and then when you put out the Purview What about him, I was like, God darn it.
And
So I'm happy to see you change your mind. But it's like I said, we don't know what to believe. You know, all we can do is, and that's very human of you to, you know, show people that you can make a difference. You can change your mind you know?
Yeah.
How many people are probably hiding or ashamed of decisions that they made over the past few years, and they just don't want to admit it right now, you know?
Right. 100%. And I'm totally cool encouraging people to stay that open minded. Because at one point I could have written a preview on Trump. It's like when you go on Google and you type in coffee's good for you and then you do coffee's bad for you, you're going to find something, a lot of somethings on either one.
Yep.
So same with Trump. Like I was finding things that I'm like, oh gosh. And it doesn't change my love for him. I see what he's doing and we're all human. So for me to change my mind, I hope other people can embrace that too. And I think it's happening. I think I've seen a lot of people shift their perspectives, knowing
Yep.
it's okay to. You know, you don't have to identify with what you believe. You can identify with being open minded and change what you believe every now and then.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really actually nice to see people that were disagreeing with like our beliefs, like my beliefs as an anti, shooter.
Mm.
A lot of unfriends, people unfriending you after they violently attack you with their words. But now they're
Mhm.
coming back, They don't say anything, they just send you a friend request and you're like, "Oh, well that's kind of nice." That's kind of like their, "Oh, I'm sorry."
It
That's really
is.
good to see as well. The energy's changing. I think it's going full circle at the moment because the reciprocity that we didn't have 3 years ago, but it's a part of a spiritual journey as well. And we've learned so much about ourselves, and it's okay to change your mind. But I think if we hold on to like an outcome, that's what's happened. That's where there's been a lot of despondency in this movement. And one thing is that not having that attachment to an outcome and
Yes.
being able to be flexible. So you can look at things sort of calibrated and centered and grounded and think, oh, I got that wrong. And being humble to be able to say that, okay, the world is changing and changing every single day. And I believe change is the law of the universe.
Yes, that's very well said. And that's, we have to go at things full force like this. And you can't keep resonating with the emotional attachments to everything that's happening around you. That's the biggest key, I think. The biggest drawback from us is, we as humans work so much on that emotional level and just resonate with those emotions. We need to just detach from that and be like, hey, this is it. Feel the feeling for a minute, let it go, move on to the next thing so we can figure this out faster.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Nick,
before,
why don't you? Oh, sorry, Charlie. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say before we totally get off the topic of Tartaria here and move on, because it looks like we are. But I just wanted to let everybody know I don't know if you were going to announce it later, but Nick and I are going to be on with Sasha Stone on next Saturday, the 30th, and we're going to be doing the Lazarus Initiative, discussing Nick's book series or film series on Tartaria. So I hope everyone can come watch us the
And the
next
Yeah,
links are in the
Saturday.
description.
Yeah. So
cool.
one of the things I'm going to show, and I'm going to be a very minor player in this next one because this is really about Tartaria itself. But I do have some new slides I'm going to show about some ancient flying technologies uh,
Cool.
that I've discovered that have this geometry in them as well. And I'm going to discuss fluid dynamics, which I haven't done with Sasha before, and show that all of these rockets and hypersonic vehicles and so forth that we've discussed since that time that I was on last year, all contain this geometry too. And so if this is the right geometry for fluid dynamics, kind of the inverse, and I'm working on a slide to show this. It's the perfect geometry for implosion and free energy. So anyway, just
Awesome.
shameless plug for our show on the 30th. So
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. With those flying machines, did you look into? I think they're called Vimanas.
Vimanas, yeah.
They're like,
there is one of the Vimana pictures is of a Vimana. Yeah, yeah.
and it has the
It
correct
has
angle.
it has this geometry. There's some ancient little objects, plane objects from Peru that have this, and there's one other place that I found them as well. But I've got three different sources that I'll be showing, and probably some more if I have time to do more research. So yeah, there's
Awesome.
plenty of cool stuff there
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna match it. We're gonna do something really cool. I'm gonna bring some cool things to the table. Some clips from specific films I've seen that add to a theory of what Tartaria, where it really came from. There's this video I have. Oh, what's it called? It's just this full disclosure video under the flat Earth section of Good Line TV. But I just want to let everyone know too, like you did say book series, and that's where this Tartaria series is coming from. Is this book series? Yeah, right. And there's 3 books, and it starts off with everything Tartaria, and then it leads all the way to Lemuria and Atlantis, and so it could be like an 8 to 10 film series, carefully extracting the right information in proper doses. And I think that's going to be fantastic because most people know about Atlantis, they know about Lemuria. And if you know, like Queen Khalifa in California, when California was an island, and then you look at where Atlantis used to be, and you see Atlantis fits right in there with where Hawaii would be to where California is, and all these strange creatures that used to exist that only exist in fairy tales and sci-fis and fantasies. Maybe we love those movies so much because those actually existed. So there's so much in that realm, especially with energy, but also with mythical creatures. Like I'm excited to show all that.
That'll be great. So so tune in Saturday the 30th. Looking forward
Lazarus Initiative with Sasha Stone, and the links are in the description below, everybody. And real quick, whoever, if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll have a short Q&A at the end here. How much time do we have with you guys today? Are we doing till 2 o'clock, 2:15?
Yeah. 2? 2 is cool. We got 30 more.
Well, that's good.
Sounds good. Well, let's talk about, let's get off of Tartaria for a while. We could talk about so many subjects, but let's talk about the greatest show on earth. You know, I know Alpa was an inspiration to you, like a little birdie chatting in your ear to get you going on that in the first place. And I was following Derek's work, and I know Derek has a big heart and he has a lot of knowledge, but he was getting kind of frustrated with everybody for a while because nobody was understanding what he was saying. And you kind of put it in to layman's terms for everybody. You know, you really laid it out there for people to really understand it well.
Yeah, it was hard. It was actually really hard. I had to listen to Derek like 50 times, like his TikToks. I'd go to Whole Foods and I'd eat, and I would just I would say, look, the only way you're really going to write it well is if you really understand it. So I would listen to the same TikTok on repeat like 50 times. I'd go to the gym, it'd be on at the gym, it'd be while I'm eating. And so I understand why there's a lot of people out there who they know there's truth to it and they wish they could say it to their friends and family. But then when they start, they're like, oh, am I saying it right? What am I missing? And so then they lose their person that they're telling. And that's why I started making movies to begin with, because sometimes when you're in an argument or you're trying to defend an idea, you get stressed and anxiety builds up, and then you start forgetting words, and then you you lose.
You miss the important parts.
Yeah, that would happen with my brother and I, because he hates Trump, and I would have to find the calm to almost ignore him in his energy. Like I remember one time I was explaining everything he asked, every question he asked. And he just kept interrupting and kept not listening, to the point where his girlfriend was like, hey, are you even listening to his answers? Mm-hmm. And so it started to hit me. The only way I'm going to be able to transfer this information to someone without exhausting myself is to make a movie. And that's been the essence of every movie. And with this movie, it really did that. And I kind of didn't expect it to do it so well, but it does when you have all the different modalities of teaching. You're reading it while I'm saying it, so you're seeing and you're hearing, and then there's music that kind of it's 432, so it relaxes you, and you're getting the whole school experience on a different level, and then that way it sinks in. So that Derek couldn't provide just talking, and so the film has really helped people soak in that info.
That's funny that you put it that way, because as soon as you were describing it, it kind of reminded me of like a hypnosis session, where, and I tell people this all the time, 90% of the choices that we make in our life, we decide on those things unconsciously through our subconscious mind.
Yeah.
So why are we focused constantly on training our conscious mind? We need to start retraining our subconscious mind. And focusing on things like that with the 432 hertz, the real solfeggio frequencies, the music, the pictures, everything. It's all just like, but in a good way.
Good point.
But in a good way,
Yeah, that's a good point. And some people are like, wow, I like how you almost did ASMR with your voice. And it's like, oh, I wasn't trying to do that. But then some people are like, oh my gosh, like I got maybe 2 emails. One, actually, I'm speaking about one email. This guy was like, what? I cannot hear that guy's voice. It makes me feel like there's what do you call it? Scratching a chalkboard. And he was so bothered, so bothered. He went on for like an essay. And then I was like, I don't know how to reply to this. But then a few emails later, he wrote, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about last night. I shouldn't have been so mean. Can you make sure the creator of that movie doesn't read this email?
I'm reading it.
And I'm like, I said, you know what? You're not the first to say this. And maybe there's a hypnosis thing happening and I don't know it. And it's bothering people because they're like, I don't want to go there.
Well, energetic wise, if you don't like something, that usually like a chalkboard type, it would mean more like you need that energy. You need to hear it. He's probably somebody that really needed to hear it.
Rejecting the frequency for sure.
Yeah.
I was kind of a jerk at first, and I said, well, some women say it turns them on. Maybe a hint. No, it's so mean.
Oh, goodness.
It's hard sometimes. There's so many emails.
There's so many people lashing out about everything anymore. It's just, you have to be comical about it, I mean, really, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
I do have to relate this is a real life story. I was in my significant other is a dentist, so she does my dental work, and I was in the office for an 8:00 appointment yesterday, and I was sitting down and I heard the woman who came in, and she said that she had an 8:00 appointment with her as well. And I thought, gee, that's strange. So she sat down next to me and I said, did you say you're here to see so-and-so? I don't want to put my significant other's name out. But anyway, she said, yes. Well, within 60 seconds, she was talking about the greatest show on earth.
Oh,
and
man,
no lie. Now, her customer base is going to be, kind of amenable to this stuff, but it came around right away. And she is writing me now. She's going to help me with all the state national stuff, try to educate me on that. And she's done it. But I'll tell you what, that was just a classic example. I put some information up on with a local group as well, and I've gotten amazing feedback. A number of people have already seen the show, so
wow.
It's doing great, and I'm really so happy that it's been a success. And I think people would love to hear just a few minutes summary of what the documentary is all about, and the major points.
For
Tell
sure.
your friends about it too, because it is that good.
Before I answer that, I want to share something similar that I found out happened this morning. My godfather lives in Venezuela. He's in Venezuela, and he teaches at this academy, and he's an English speaker, so he's up there with the other Spanish English speakers. And he was, I think, watching someone do a teaching, and I think he was critiquing. They were teaching to a class, and he ends up, they were talking about Greek mythology, right? And then the teacher wanted to bring up a video on Tartaria for some reason, and English. And then he ends up playing my film, the first Tartaria film. And my godfather in the back knew I made that. And he was just so excited. And he's like, that's my godson. And everyone's like, no, it's not, you liar. And he had to pull out like his phone and show everyone that we've been talking, and then he's just so proud and happy. And I don't even think he's seen the greatest show on earth, but Venezuelans love Trump, so I'm sure that my mom is actually going to make it in Spanish, so she's going to narrate it in Spanish.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
and we have someone who's going to do it, I think, in Sweden.
Sweden, yeah.
So that might be Finnish or German, or I don't know what that's going to be. Swedish, probably, whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But
Well,
yeah,
somebody else that was very proud of you, Alpa. Alpa said how proud she was of you when I talked to her last on the phone. So
it wouldn't have happened without her. So like, I can answer what it's all about and how it came to be. And it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Alpa. Last time she visited, she was like, she's like, let's watch the capitulation tour. And I was like,
I want to jump in here. I was trying to, we talk a lot about what's going on geopolitically, and I always say, Nick, that's not my strength. But when I started this movement 3 years ago, I'm not sure, Lisa, if you ever saw the show that I used to do with Charlie Freak. And it served in the UK, it was a big thing. And things that we can't ignore that happened with Trump after his presidency. So I always held on to that these factual things, then watching his trajectory post his win. And that always stuck. Mark Devlin done the A to Z takedown of the cabal with Charlie Freak. And then after the election, everybody was like, oh God, what's going on here? And we broke down the whole, am I allowed to say, the election fraud on my channel. We had like a huge audience where we dissected this like step by step with the Dominion software and what happened worldwide, and then the executive orders. So that stuck in my head. So fast forward to where we are now, and everybody's sort of going on off the Trump train, on the Trump train, off the Trump train. I always held on to that. So I was trying to explain it to Nick like an 8-year-old, saying, yes, but this is what Trump did. This is what he did. So then we sat down and then we watched I think was it Bonfire Guy?
probably, yeah. Is that the one you watched with Charlie Freak?
No, we didn't watch that on my show, but I was breaking it down. We watched it twice, and I just wanted to like remind Nick that this we can't ignore that, and you'd be a brilliant person to explain this and convey this where everybody will understand, with the way he narrates his movies, the music that he puts in the movies, and then how he does his research, so that it's that clever questioning, evoking emotion with the viewer to get them to think, okay, and to think. So, and he did exactly that.
Thanks. I was really excited too. When I was watching that video, I was thinking, why hasn't anyone put this in a film?
Yeah.
The capitulation tour hasn't been put in a film. And that's basically when Trump went around the whole world when he became president. And there was a royal act of submission with most countries that he visited. And if you study it, it's even in Trump's book. He has this cool picture book when he became president that shows the capitulation tour, but it doesn't call it that. It's like when he's with Saudi Arabia and then he does a sword dance, or when the queen lets him walk in front of him, or when he goes to the Wailing Wall, or when he meets North Korea's dictator. There's a lot actually that trickles everywhere he goes. And most people might think, oh, Trump, he's not the savior. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And it's not necessarily the case. It's that he was selected to be this person that could do the job, because he couldn't be bribed out of it, or Trump doesn't drink or do drugs. And Trump has been a businessman his entire life. The prequel to this movie is basically this film I made for Trump's birthday. It's called Trump, Savior of the USA. Some people get offended by that. I'm not trying to offend anybody by using that word. It's just, indicating that he's saving the USA. But it shows Trump has been very political his entire life, because you can't be building these huge structures around the world and not have a clue what's going on with other governments, and not speak with high ups in those countries. So what the film's about is it's blending in Derek Johnson's research on executive orders, which then touches on these I guess you could say Patel Patriots devolution theories, which aren't exactly theories, they're written there. And combining that with the Trump tour around the world and the timeline. And it's basically in a timeline fashion where you get 7 acts. And once you see that everything happens, it's like with a very good time schedule, you realize that it's an act. This is something that was meant to be rolled out. Everything had purpose. And so in watching it, you get a lot of .mil website, .gov website information. So it's not purely theoretical. It's actually based on a lot of fact, but there's room for speculation on a lot of the things, like did Bin Salman know, or did Trump know Bin Salman was going to be assassinated at the MGM? Like, that's speculation. A lot of these come from Q posts. So I call it intel in the movie. I don't really call them Q posts. So in the movie, you'll hear me say intel points to. I just wanted to make sure if any normies were going to watch, that they weren't really turned away from that kind of language.
Sure.
But yeah, I was really excited to make it, and I knew when I was making it, it was going to go viral. I told everyone when I was making it, I said, this is going to be big, but I didn't realize how it was going to happen. And how it's happened has been crazy. Like, seeing it, what people are saying and how many times people have watched it and sharing, and like the crying, people are crying when they're watching it. And I get it. Like, there are moments I'd cry too after a section in editing, and I'd just be like, oh my God, this is so good. I hope I don't die. Like, this has to come out.
Yeah. But that right there, I hope I don't die. That proves to me, that's all the proof that I need that the white hats are in control, because we all would be dead by now, just talking about the things that we are talking about now,
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people, they kind of, I could have gone more in depth with people say, well, trust the plan. That's been borrowed from the Bolshevik Revolution. We're all just being led into slaughter. And I don't believe that. And I could have written a movie on it once, the mirroring of the Bolshevik Revolution, where the intel agencies released information on purpose to see where it would trickle out into whose hands. And then they would realize those are truthers. We got to kill them. And they would. So people think that is what's happening now because they use the same lingo. Trust the plan is not necessarily what they said then, but it had something to do with trust and something to do with the plan. I think the cabal and the white hats and the black hats have been fighting each other for a while, and they taunt each other. And so, similar to those who say Jesus' real birthday is on 9/11, well, why do they do these big world events, these not terrorists, but these, I don't know what you want to call them, but 9/11 in New York and 9/11 in Chile, they bombed the Chilean White House. That's where my dad was from. They do a lot of these world cataclysm events on that day. So I think they take what is already a cabal thing, and they do the opposite of what they've done. They turn it back right side up, as opposed to them inverting it. Yeah. So, yeah,
it's a big game, and it literally is a big game, and we're in the middle of it.
Yeah, and that's why I use the chess symbology in this movie a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of visuals representing chess. In the beginning, the song "I've Seen All Good People" by Yes. Basically a chess game being talked about, and it was cool to use time and the songs that I picked to help emphasize everything. And I know that a lot of truthers are from a generation that grew up on that music, so I just had a blast making the movie. It was so tiring, though. There were some times that were so tiring, and the darkness tried to take over and tried to make me stop. For reals, like I got a new troll in my life who's like trying to defame like what I am and what Alpa is.
I can imagine too. You just got out of jail as well, and I know you relate to a lot of people and connect to people in there, but you also pick up their energies and their thoughts, and their feelings, and you don't know how to deal with them when you get out because they're not yours. You know what I mean? A lot of people.
Big. Yeah, that's big. Yeah, there's a guy who I really helped in jail, and when I came out, I was still helping him. So, and then he was getting in trouble. So he was in the hole, and he would call me from the hole, and I was his only lifeline. And I had to cut him off. There's certain people who, this guy's been in and out of jail for 17 years. He knew about Tartaria. I had the Tartaria book in jail, and he knew about almost everything. So that's where I I see the good in people, and sometimes I need to realize, like, hey, our energy might not be good for each other's.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I had to do. That's why this movie came out 3 movies after jail.
But it's been at the right time and the divine time, because this is what has been needed in humanity, that explanation and that energy that's behind the movie, that it's evoked in so many people. I've been getting so many emails as well saying that we've shared it with our grandparents, we're sharing it with everybody at work, and people from the corporate field and where I sort of used to be in are coming back to me saying, this is brilliant, this is really well explained. And if you think how movies are made now, there's a kind of programming that we've been used to, and that's what the movies and how they've been made, the news, that's the intention. It's this predictive programming because it's operating at a frequency that is hypnotizing. So the way Nick has produced this movie, directed this movie, I mean, it's all in one. It's the intention that really was behind it, was to actually uplift people's spirits, explain things factually, and with that pizzazz and that humor and that those emotions, because people are saying, wow, we want to watch it again. This has made us really happy. And I think I'll let you say that, that feedback that you got about this grandfather that watched the movie.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine, Shauna. She's been in the Lion's Den on Telegram. She's been a friend since the beginning, since I first started making films. And she told me, she said, my grandpa is a World War I and World War II vet. And his wife died, I think, 7 months ago. And he's still around. And he watched this movie 7 hours before he died. And she believes that it brought him so much peace in knowing that everything was going to be okay, that he then could let himself go.
Oh, wow.
I just burst into tears when he told me that, because I thought, wow, you know, you're having, the intention was love. If we just surmise it, love, and not fake opium, but just encouraging that unity consciousness, which I think has been lost in these 3 years because of these egocentric wars that we've witnessed, and people not trusting themselves, not understanding what's going on, finding themselves in this movement. So it's gone through so many different kaleidoscopes of, you know, frequencies and emotions, that this is the divine time and it was meant to happen this way. And then everything that we've been through collectively is starting to make sense if we choose to, if we choose, as I frequently say, choose to have the to realize what's going on inward, and then look at everything outwardly. And and it's brought so many people together, and we're looking forward to our event soon.
Yeah, I see this movie like a lot of movies are red pills, and maybe some people don't want to take a pill from a stranger, and this movie is like a red pill pie, and it's very hard for people to deny a slice of pie, you know, especially when everyone's like, this pie is so good, you know, like I've gotten so many people who are like, this movie did it. My husband is now like where I'm at. And I'm like, sweet. And that's happened to so many people. So it is pie. It's American pie. There we go. It's a red pill American pie.
That's awesome. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, you guys did amazing work. It's an amazing film, and I'm so happy for you both and so proud of you both. It's there's way more to come for you too.
Yeah. Have you gotten any feedback from the Trump organization at all?
Not yet, but like this is week 1.5 now. It's been out, and it's being streamed right now on ElijahStreams.com. So that's Steve Schultz, his show. I went on there yesterday and we did a pre-record, and now he's streaming it on there. He's had the Trumps on that on his show. Jan Halpert was on that show, and they had the most views. So like it's getting on a level now that if they haven't seen it, they're gonna see it.
I believe that. I definitely believe that they'll have either watched it.
I think they'll be in contact with you. Yeah, I think so for sure. So
let's email from Trump. Hey Nick,
and in person, you'll open up. Yeah, you'll hear a knock at the door, and you'll be hiding, and it'll be him.
Be like, can we play this during the EBS, Nick, with your approval? Be like, of course.
Well, we don't have much time left, but there aren't any questions, but there are a couple comments, so I wanted to bring those up real quick. I thought this was sweet. And that's Trump Tartarian pyramids. This is the best thing I've listened to in a long time. Love it.
Much love, Shannon.
Oh, I got a comment on this one. Shannon is the person who sent me, this was probably 2 years ago, the overlay of the Key of Solomon over the Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower, and it fits perfectly. So,
Oh,
Whoa,
really?
yes, I just wanted to call Shannon out for that and say thank you.
cool.
Awesome. Okay, Katie says, FYI, Jane has posted your movie on Truth this morning.
Jane, which Jane?
I'm Jane. Hi,
Cool.
Jane. Thank you,
We'll wait
Jane.
for some clarity. But then we have on Rumble here, we have, thanks for all you do, Nick. Your work is so powerful. Yes, your voice is so calming, almost hypnotic. LOL, your frequency is so leveling.
Aw, thank you. I had a psychic tell me once that this was connected, my throat chakra was connected to higher dimensions, and she said like aliens. I know.
Very much could be. Well, why don't you guys touch? I know you guys have an event coming up in Tennessee next month. So why don't you touch on that and tell people about it?
Yeah, you want to tell him?
Okay.
She's making it so awesome. Like if she wasn't here, it'd probably just be like us sitting down, kumbaya, watching a movie. But Alpa's here, making it like an awesome event. We got a really cool venue in Nashville. It's going to be on October 14th. Might start around 7 or 6, but it's going to go till 1 a.m. And tickets are going to be available tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. But
On
tomorrow,
Eventbrite.
latest by Friday, yeah.
Yeah, no, she said that she's making them today.
Oh, good, great.
Yeah, it'll be sold on Eventbrite, and Derek Johnson will be there. We'll be there, and a lot of our friends will be there. Yeah, Mark Atwood is going to be hosting it.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping to attend.
And it's different. I think we have a different approach. It's changing the face of media and entertainment, and of course, what this film has done worldwide, which I didn't expect it to go like this crazy within the first week. But there's just a good energy behind this. We've done a lot of watching podcasts. We've seen a lot of these tours go, and I think everything is served. So I think the intention for both of us is to bring people together in a celebration, really. We've got and celebrate art, and celebrating art and how people have channeled their talents, and doing what Nick has done, what Mark Atwood has done. So we can talk about the doom and gloom all we want for a while, but it's just not serving us anymore. So I think it's just to encourage people to come together and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. And there's going to be freebies that people get when they get their tickets. There's going to be a lot of cool things they get with it.
Yeah. Ari, we're going to be giving our detox.
I think of it like when the hobbits have a celebration, like a night to remember. We're just going to be, I mean, you could be barefoot if you want, but it's just going to be a very fun time, dancing and high vibe, that kind of thing.
Is this live only, or will you live stream it? I mean,
that'd be great to live stream it. We can definitely live stream it. Yeah, it'll be in person, but live streaming can happen for sure. That's actually.
I might want to come anyway in person.
Well, you are coming, Charlie.
She's good at this.
I've got the pigeon that's sending the invite to you personally. It's on its way. You should get it after the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
All she needs is Trump's phone number, and Trump will come, because I've seen her, like, some people are like, can't make it. She's like, no, you're coming. You are. And then I'm like, how'd you do that? How'd you make them come? So even though Trump has an event on that day in Florida, maybe he can just do them both.
Speak to Alva.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great.
Calling the Trumps. We'll put that out there. They're going to be coming to you. So all you have to do is place your order once. Place your order once, it will come to you.
I think it would be a big statement if any of the Trumps came, because they would be like, yeah, it is true. All of it's true. So if they back this movie, then they're really confirming it all. Even though we know, it would be nice to know that they know we know, and that we know they know,
Yeah.
So we'll see how that happens.
Well, Derek was in Mar-a-Lago, right, with Trump. So
that's a big one too. You're right. It's already been confirmed.
Yep. Yeah.
Did we put? Are we going to put a link to the to information about this on this video?
Yeah,
We
we
can,
can. I don't think they had a link yet for it, but yeah, we can add it to the
We'll be able to get all
event.
information on the Good
Yep.
Line site as well. Just
Yeah,
while the
please
links
do. 'Cause
and then we can
I-
put it on here as well. When we
Yeah,
get
we'll
it, we
share
can
it.
give it to you to update the podcast.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, all of Nick's and Elpa's links too are in the description below. For Good Lion to watch the greatest show, to watch the Tartaria Empire. Elpa's link tree is under there too. So if anybody wants to connect with you guys, I'm sure you all know how active they are on social media and stuff too, and you can connect with them there. I know Nick pops on sometimes and chats with the Good Lion Den and stuff. So
Cool.
yeah. So thank you so much, you guys, for being here today. It was an honor to have you on. We're so happy to
Thanks for
connect
having
with
us.
you guys. I'm glad to see you together too.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're so cute.
You're both so cute.
Mm.
Well, I love
Thank
you
you.
guys. We'll see you later.
Love
And
you. Thank
Love you.
you.
thanks everybody for being
all
here.
right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.